Last time on Square Roots, we get all up in that DLC when we broker some shadows, collect mementos of our dead friends, and become the Batarian Barbarian when we commit some light mass murder. Plus, driving segments. Ugh, nobody wants to drive in RPGs. Nobody wants to drive in RPGs, developers. Write this down. Nobody wants to drive in RPGs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zandt.
I'm back, baby!
John Legion Brandon.
Matthew is back, baby.
And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs like Mass Effect 2.
What?
And also, we play them one chunker at a time.
That's true, and this is the last chunker of Mass Effect 2.
This is our 250th
Our
episode.
250th episode.
Yeah,
What?
can you believe it?
Whoa.
Yeesh.
It's our bicentenarian. No, it's our
Sesqua?
quarter-barian. There must be a name for 1/4 of 1,000.
Yeah.
No, you call it a semi-quincentennial.
Semi-quincentennial.
Aha!
Ooh.
It's our semi-quincentennial.
We did it!
Ooh. That's where we all
But, like,
dress
doesn't
in
annual just
fancy
refer to
dresses
years?
and everyone is supposed to be introduced to us. It's oh, look how pretty Square Roots looks in their semi-quincentennial dress.
Presenting for the first time to society, Mr. John Brandon, escorted by Mrs. Jim Banks and Mr. Matthew Van Zandt. John is wearing a beautiful white linen gown.
Matthew's in his finest space tux.
Jim is cosplaying as Cloud from Final Fantasy VII.
John Brandon's gown was provided by Miss Havisham Productions.
Why, Jonathan, I believe the Lady Vanessa has caught your eye.
Oh no!
Jonathan.
This gentleman will never make it in society with manners like that.
And now introducing, at 9'6", including her hat and heels, Miss Vanessa.
I've been waiting to see her all day.
Jonathan Brandon, I finally found
My Lady
you.
Vanessa, your favor, please.
Yes. Oh, little man, I shall drop my handkerchief.
Milady, will you please step on my genitals?
Alrighty.
Why, certainly, sir.
Oh, you.
So usually at the beginning of the episode, we do this segment where we level up.
What's this podcast about?
I already said
We
it.
did that. Hey, I'll go first. I had a birthday! Wow, wow,
I'll go first. I had a birthday.
No, I went
Womp,
first.
womp, womp, womp.
I don't have to share my birthday level with
Vanessa
you
had
every
a
year, Vanessa.
birthday?
Yeah, I had a birthday. It was super sweet. It was the best birthday ever. Anyone else who had a birthday is probably going to cry because theirs wasn't as good. Matt, how did you level up?
I have a cool birthday gift from my good friend Johnny Brandon, and you can all see it in the chat, and I'll post it in the group too. It says Xanarkand Abes, and it has a blitzball on it. Established 2001. I assume that's when the game came out. And at the top, it says Jecht Memorial League. Super cool.
Nice.
Thank you, Johnny. I love it. I love this shirt.
That's a sweet
great shirt.
t-shirt.
Sweet t-shirt. That was my level up.
I'll go next. My level up is I got a super cool stuffed Moogle from my friend Matt.
That's
It
true.
arrived on his birthday because the way you celebrate your birthday is to give gifts to your friends, like a hobbit. I also, just today, as we record, I watched the most bananas documentary ever. It's called There Are No Fakes, and it stars, get ready for it, this is going to blow your mind, Kevin Hearn.
Okay.
Who?
I'm waiting for you guys to be like, oh my god.
Who's Kevin Hearn?
Kevin.
Oh, Madam
John?
Vanessa, Kevin Hearn, you say?
Tell him who Kevin Hearn is.
Kevin Hearn
I don't
is
know.
the host of everyone's favorite Canadian kid show. You can't do that on television.
Kevin Hearn is the
Good
is
cable
a
boy. You
member
had
of
Nickelodeon
the
as a kid.
Kevin Hearn is a member of the Bare Naked Ladies, of course. And it's about Kevin Hearn. Well, it's not really about Kevin Hearn. He's our in, you know? Because everyone loves them Bare Naked Ladies.
Is Kevin Hearn
It's
the guy that
about-
had those tigers and was like the king of them?
No, that
no.
was Hearn Exotic.
Yeah, once again, Kevin Hearn is a member of the Bare Naked Ladies, which is a band, not a tiger zoo.
He's a guitar player.
He is a guitar player. So Kevin Hearn bought this painting by Norval Morrisseau, and who is a famous Canadian painter, a contemporary painter, an Indigenous man. And he like hung it up in this gallery, and then the gallery was like, thanks for participating in our like celebrity art show, like where we show art the celebrities own, but I gotta tell you, this is a fake, dude. And it drew him into this world of art fraud in Canada around this particular guy. And this documentary goes places. I thought I was watching a show about art. It touches on very, very dark topics, including assault, drug use, murder. Like, it don't stop. Racism. Threats, scandal. It is like, it's the craziest rabbit hole I've ever been down. And it's available on Amazon Prime. It's called There Are No Fakes. If you like fraud, if you like art, if you like true crime, if you like Bare Naked Ladies, you'll like this documentary. And that's how I leveled up. John, how did you level up?
I leveled up by purchasing a game for my Switch called Fitness Boxing 2.
Whoa.
It's a boxing game where you do boxing, but it's like a rhythm game. And I think there's just a lot of lag in my TV because it says I miss all the time. And we all know I have perfect rhythm.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Never seen anything
Amazing
like it.
hand-eye coordination
Yes.
as well.
If you Johnny Brandon has a Dance Dance Revolution machine in his bedroom.
which was actually given to me by Bimani themselves. They're like,
Yeah.
wow, John, you are the number one player. We've built this special one full of songs you like Squirrel Nut Zippers and Jason
Did you guys
Mraz.
know that Johnny Brandon is Parappa the Rappa?
I'm like, kick, punch.
Yeah.
It's all in the mind. If
I've
you want
seen
to test
John
me.
Riverdance.
Who hasn't, though?
Yeah, I mean, he's the lord of the dance.
Yes, it's true. So it's pretty tricky, and it was like, oh, maybe you were tired when you did this. Like, no,
Wow. Way to shame you.
yeah, I don't like how fitness games are like, you are grossly obese and terrible at this, but maybe you'll do better next time. Oh, jeez, game. I just want to have fun. Do you have a mode for people with
Yeah.
no rhythm? But it was a good workout. I definitely got super sweaty, which is always for me a sign that a workout is actually working. Because sometimes workouts are too easy and I do not sweat at all. And I'm like, no sweat. Like I find Ring Fit Adventure is not a great workout. It's fun, but I don't think it does much for me.
Sweating is so irritating, though. Then you have to take a shower. You get wet. It's gross.
How am I going to spend my days not showering if I work out, John?
Well,
Solve this riddle for me.
Maybe.
Riddle me this.
Solve this riddle for me by driving through this obstacle course.
I was also watching a thing about copyright law in the Omegaverse, because these like Omegaverse fan fiction authors started doing spin-off Omegaverse things, but then they like said that they own
What's an Omegaverse?
copyright.
Ooh, I've heard about this too. Those Omega friends are like, they're practically in heat for copyright
Yes, it's like copyright law is giving them the nodding that they've always wanted.
Matt is pretending not to know what the Omegaverse is, so I guess for our listeners, that's a good idea, Matt. Although we know that you are heavily into it. For those who don't know, John, explain the Omegaverse.
Well, it started off as what was it called, like Suhulok or something, or
Super Hulok.
Super Hulok fan fiction. So a combination of supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock fan fiction where all the boys got together and kissed. But also there were werewolves.
Okay.
There's a lot of werewolves. And I guess a key feature
Werewolves are fun.
of Omegaverse is that it's like a public domain, open source fan fiction universe where you can bring in whatever property you like. And there's the whole idea of alphas, betas, and omegas.
That's right.
And there are different types of men, and originally it was just mostly M/M fic, but these two women were coming in doing M/F fic.
Hold on. This summary I found on the internet describes the differences between the alpha beta. Hold on. Between the alpha beta and the omega, the main difference is it mainly boils down to the fact that alphas have a penile knot.
Ah, yes.
So just want to make sure we're clear about that.
Yeah. Incidentally, wolves in the wild do not form alpha, beta, and omega hierarchies. Sometimes wolves in captivity will, but in the wild, they're more family groups and really behave more as a family without that kind of regimented hierarchy.
Right. And
Did
also,
you guys know that inside you there are two wolves? One is a regular wolf, and the second one has a penile knot.
Isn't a lot of that concept based on like a Disney documentary that was like that just kind of made it up on the fly?
I think you're right.
About yeah.
Disney did that all the time.
Yeah.
They rushed those little lemmings off a cliff, and they were like, this is what
Yeah.
lemmings do.
jeez.
That's not what lemmings do. The producers just like ran at them and made them go down the cliff.
So, Jesus.
That's some wild shit.
So, it's all
job,
about
Disney.
Mpreg, and these two authors are real mad at each other because they're like, no, MF Omegaverse werewolf fiction featuring lots of non-con is my thing, and I patented it. So you can't write that. And then they're like
What?
filing DMCA takedowns on each other.
What?
And it was a whole.
These people are dumb. You can't copyright an idea.
That's really sad.
It's a whole thing. But I was watching a fun Lindsay Ellis video about that, and that she got sued for making by one of those writers.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. It's super weird. And also, like, everyone knows that they weren't the ones to come up with this in the first place anyway. Because it's like a fan fiction thing. It's just one of those things that people started doing. And then everyone started writing it.
It's a neat idea, and I applaud the idea.
Yeah,
of
it's
like,
a great
let's
idea to have a knot on your penis. What a cool idea.
to have like a cross fiction, fan fiction universe. That's a neat idea.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with fan fiction. That is my hot
Jim,
take.
how did
Certainly, there is not. I don't know that we are all that different from fan fiction, ladies and gentlemen.
That's true.
you level up,
But we're lazier.
Jim?
John, did you ask me how I leveled up? I played and finished a game called The Medium, which is
What?
like It's like I don't know, like a little horror adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is it? You've been talking about it all week, and I've only been half paying attention. So, what's it on? What's it about? What's its deal?
It's on the Xbox.
And
it's
PC.
And PC. About a medium. I don't even remember her name. What's the main character's name?
Mariole?
Marianne. Marianne, the medium, gets a mysterious call. She has to go to this old like hotel. The game takes place in Poland. This old like Polish workers resort. She has this ability where she exists in the normal world and in the spirit world, and she can exist in both at the same time. So the main gimmick of the game is that at certain points the screen will split and you'll be controlling two characters simultaneously, Marianne in the real world and Marianne in the spirit world, and you have to solve puzzles by altering things in either world. She has like a shield and like a charging up power that she can do in the spirit world, and then in certain sequences you're avoiding. The only real way you can die in the game is to get caught by this enemy called the Maw, which is the only enemy in the game besides these kind of Maws that are more of an environmental obstacle. But there's certain sequences where you have to like hide from it and sneak around it and stuff. But otherwise, it's a pretty fun game. It's very short. It includes some themes that it didn't need that I think are gross and unnecessary. So that was kind of a bummer. But otherwise, it's short and I don't know, decent. It's fine.
Well, we're gonna do a Scare Roots episode on it, right?
Yeah, we will do a Scare Roots episode.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about it. But it is like a traditional style lady adventure game where she's figuring out stuff and looking at clues. And there's lots and lots of really nice environmental storytelling, lots of Soviet era inspired like posters and stuff.
There is a really big, fat Stephen King Easter egg towards the beginning of the game that it felt a little too obvious to me, but
I think I must have missed it then.
So you know when you check the guest ledger in the lobby of the hotel?
Right, yeah.
There's a note underneath the main thing you read in huge letters that says, "Where is Mike Enslin?" Mike Enslin is the main character from 1408, Stephen King's like hotel like novelette.
Okay.
But I thought that was very on the nose.
But
Can I make a confession?
Mm-hmm.
I sort of like that movie, 1408.
It's actually not a bad
cheesy as
movie.
heck,
And
but I
which
sorta
one is
like
that?
it.
it's the one with John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson.
You know, a lot of Stephen King novelettes make pretty good movies, it turns
would
out.
you say it's
actually,
one of the better John Cusack based hotel horror psychological horror movies of the 2000s?
Yes. Also, the better John Cusack starring Stephen King adaptation, with the other one being The Cell, which is a piece of shit movie.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I saw on
Wait,
the
The
internet
Cell?
the other day someone talking about how
Or Cell.
Identity was a good movie, and I got
I
upset.
did too. I saw that same post and I was like, I don't agree.
I'm like, I don't need to engage with this. Like, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum.
Yeah.
But
The Cell with Jennifer Lopez?
No,
That movie's
not the
amazing.
Cell. Cell.
Cell.
Oh, the
but-
Dragon Ball Z villain?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I watched that movie. I might have talked about it on the Level Up, or maybe I just told other people how awful it was.
But yeah, I think it's that movie is helped a little bit by the fact that 1408 is one of his scarier novelettes, I think.
I will say that I think that the alternate ending is better
It is.
than the cinematic ending.
Totally. I agree.
Much better.
I also watched a series on HBO Max called The Head, which is
MTV's The Head.
It is a
A
like
man has a giant
murder
head.
mystery
and a demon
whodunit.
comes out, I think.
It's a murder mystery whodunit that takes place on an Antarctic research station in the winter.
Ooh,
and, it's
a
got- it's a-
classic locked door mystery.
Yes, and it's got a very I think it's a Spanish production, but there's like cast members who are Danish and some who are British. There's Japanese, there's Scottish. It's a really interesting cast. And it's only 6 episodes. Each episode is, I think, a little bit less than an hour long. And it's a very gripping show. I liked it a lot. And you know, these shows always have twists. Thought the twist was great. Very satisfying at the end. It's a good show. I recommend it. HBO Max. It's called The Head.
Cool.
Let's see. Am I the last one?
I think Matt should probably go a little bit more. He didn't really say very much.
You know what? I actually was going to do that. I also wanted to do a quick level up and say that I finally got myself an Xbox Series X. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Next generation.
Yeah, big next gen boy. Let me tell you something. PUBG sure is faster.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of a bummer that there's not like a big like Xbox Series game that like really shows off like next gen. There's not. Like I've played a lot of these like Hitman 3 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla that are like and you can tell that they like look better, like they look sharper. The lighting looks really good and stuff, but at the same time the models still look like flat and you're like, I don't know. It didn't come with anything. Like at least the PS4 came with that Astro's Playroom or whatever.
PS5.
Yeah.
But I really love PS5. I do love it, and it is fast and great and hot and loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little sad that we can't, we used to use the time when we would all load into PUBG, but you weren't loaded yet to make fun of you on your old console. And we don't get to do that anymore. It's sad.
It's true. We still can with Paul, who is a friend of the show, who does not listen to
Friend
the
of the show, Paul.
Friend of the show, Paul, who has never listened to the show. Never
I mean, I
Never will.
specifically told him not to. You know, like, he's not interested in this. He doesn't know what a Mass Effect is.
Yeah, weirdly.
I always feel bad when we talk about video games on the PUBG chats when Paul's on because he doesn't give a shit what we're talking about.
He doesn't care.
So the weirdest, or the best looking game, I think, on Series X is Forza Horizon 4, which again is just they added some stuff to an Xbox One game. It's still
Like the
the
ray
same
tracing and whatever.
Yeah, well, it's just like better lighting, HDR, better frame rate. I think the HDR you can get on a Series X or regular Xbox One anyway, but it looks really good.
I'm sure it does, but I have zero interest in a racing game. That's
But
the
like
problem with
honestly,
that.
that's kind of fine with me. Like if a genie came and said, you know, here's your wish is a next generation console, you can either have like basically no load times or like, you know, better, just, you know, quote unquote better graphics. I'd pick the load times. So I'm kind of okay with stuff looking like it does in the last gen.
Yeah, and last gen games look good anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they've really mastered, I think, environments and like lighting and stuff looks amazing now, but I still feel like character models still feel too stiff. I just don't know how every particle needs to be like independent, and that's just too much. And that's,
Part
you know,
of that
it is what it
is
is. We may have,
artistry and not technology, though, you know?
well, that's true too. We may have passed the point really, or I think we have passed the point where I don't think you're ever going to see a leap like we saw when we were younger, like the NES to the SNES, or that generation to the polygons, which looked kind of really bad at first, but boy, have they really that really changed everything.
Yeah, the answer is more polygons. More polygons, more polygons.
I don't think we'll see a leap like that again.
Do you think
It's kind of a bummer.
the PlayStation 5 has like 120 or something?
Yeah, at least.
I'm not sure about that, Matt.
I mean, what do you think? Like some sort of VR, maybe, if they can really nail
some
it.
sort of VR.
Let's push all of our beep boops and we'll open the codex and let's talk about the IFF mission.
I'm using my Omni tool right now.
Yeah, your Omni tool, the beep boop.
Yeah.
What does IFF stand for?
Well, that's like a plane thing. That's like the chip that lets you tell your friends from your foes. And it's something that exists now, like so that your heat-seeking missiles will not target.
It's like a frequency thing.
Yeah.
One of those S probably stands for frequency, I bet.
Well, I think friend or foe is the FF.
Oh. Well, you know what?
But I don't know what.
Is it friend or foe?
Is friend
Is
foe.
friend foe?
So we get to go to a dead Reaper
yep.
ship to get this IFF transponder. And that's going to help us navigate our way through that Omega relay that's been hanging out over in the Omega sector, tantalizingly telling us that we're not allowed in yet. And now we finally are. Yay!
Identification,
Yay.
comma, friend or foe.
So we get to this dead Reaper, and dun dun dun. It's not super dead.
They never are. Like, at this point, this is like the 5th shift that Shepard's been on where it was supposed to be dead and isn't dead. And I think Shepard should be like, okay, I get it, Elusive Man. You keep sending me on these ships that are supposed to be dead and they are not dead because you're like a jerk who likes to trick me.
I thought this was a little more interesting, though, because you sort of, as you go on, you find crew logs and they're like, yeah, the Reaper is like dead, but it's still kind of passively emitting its mind control fuckery.
Yeah, what do they call that in the game?
Like a dead god, even a dead god dreams or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there were some humans there doing some sort of research, but they're all fucked up, I guess. Something went wrong.
Were they Cerberus people?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm going to call them Cerbos.
Cerbos is a good name.
They were
for them.
Cerbos.
They were Cerbos.
We get attacked by some. What do we get attacked by? Geth, or are they?
They're like Cerbo
collectors.
husks.
They're husks, and there's so many of them.
There is a there. You know what, guys? I'm just gonna say it. There's a buttload of them.
Yeah.
There's too many.
There's a buttload of
boring
husks, and a Geth is. We get a cutscene with a Geth, and it's like doing some stuff, and then it turns around and sees Shepard, and it saves Shepard from some husks. Bum bum bum, and then it's like, Shepard, Commander, and you're like, what? Shepard's like, what? I've never heard a Geth talk before.
Yeah, Geth can't talk. They just go beep boop beep boop.
They just beep boop. The Geth saves you, and then it gets, I don't know what happens to it. It just got knocked out somehow. It seemed like it was like saving us, I guess, and it got attacked. Does anybody have any more input on that one? Because I got a little fuzzy there.
Yeah, we go into this room and the Geth is like at the controls of something. It's like beep boop beep boop. I'm on this control thing now, and then I think it does get shot.
Yeah, he gets shot.
You have to fight off the remaining husks.
There's I think they made these husks like they're too tanky. Like they have too much HP. They need to be much easier to kill if they're gonna make you kill 250 of them.
Right.
Yeah, they're freaking annoying.
And I say 250 because it's our 250th episode.
How many Geth does sexy grandma want to save?
I'm assuming control of your body.
Yeah, Edie hacks the ship and gets the IFF, and then we blow the Reaper on the way out the door, and we drag the
You
Geth.
do what?
We blow it. Up. And we take the Geth that saved us with us.
Well,
and they have a quick talk about it.
But I was like, no, there's some pulse I can do that will kill everything on there.
No, Johnny, that's later.
Oh, that's later, you're right. Okay.
No, actually, I think you're right.
John's
I think you
wrong.
had. No, I don't think so. So when is that, Vanessa? Is that at the end that you're talking about?
Yes, that's at the very end.
But I think John's right. I think it happens here too.
Really?
Yes, I think that you get the ability. I think because the pulse. Well, whatever. You know what? It doesn't matter. You drag the Geth that saved you along with you, and you talk about how Tally was like, I don't know about all these Geth. But you decide to do it anyway because reasons. I don't know.
Well, I had her on my team too.
You learn when you pick him up that he's not like a regular Geth, right?
No. At this point, he is just he has not talked to you yet. When you find him, he's unconscious or offline.
Wait, does
or
Edie
whatever.
tell you that he doesn't have the same like protocols or whatever?
Well, and he
that
was
normal
obviously
Geth do?
saving you from Geth attacks. I think he does
that's
call
true.
you Shepard Commander right before getting shot.
Yeah, I go, Shepard Commander.
Shepard Commander. So Edie blows the ship, like she does, and
Meanwhile, though, let's not forget that our good pal, the Joker, is having some troubles of his own.
That's not the same mission.
yeah, I have
Isn't
notes here, Vanessa. Why don't you look at the notes?
That's the stop the missile attack mission.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's how it worked on mine. It's like
no.
Yes.
Joker's thing is not until after you get the IFF, and then you can jump into it here, or you can go do
right, because
Legion's
you have to
loyalty
leave on that
mission.
stupid shuttle.
yes,
Right.
yes. In that the weirdest cutscene of come on everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody
Like, no,
let's
we
get
all
on the
have to
shuttle
leave and leave the
together.
Normandy defenseless.
Okay, I'm sorry. Cut all that out. Let's start over.
Okay.
Okay.
We arrive on the IFF.
Last time on Square Roots.
We take the Geth with us. Now, so I'll say here, if you do initiate, if you go to the galaxy map, you will initiate that Joker's Flight mission that Vanessa was talking about. And if you do that, then you cannot do Legion's, the Geth's loyalty mission. So instead of talking about that first, because I know you all saved all the crew, right? We'll talk about doing Legion. So before you go do anything, you go down to the AI core, which is in the crew quarters, and you check on Legion, this Geth, which is like, I don't know, in like a cradle. It's all red. It's weird.
He's in a holding cell, and then it's like, should I turn this Geth back on? I don't know.
Do most spaceships with AI cores have holding cells in the AI core?
I think there's some reason why they put him there, but I can't figure it out. But
Seems
also,
like
you
a
do
really
get
bad idea.
So I was trying to max out because I still hadn't done the Samara mission because I really wanted to romance Morinth, which is a thing you can do in this game. But unfortunately, you have to max out your Renegade to do that. The thing was, I wasn't willing to kill Legion, which would have maxed out my Renegade.
Oh.
So I didn't get the option to.
Man,
Yes,
okay,
you do get the option
let's
to
get
kill Legion here.
because
Yeah.
this guy's fucking cool.
So you go down to the AI core and you could decide to wake up Legion, and Edie puts up like a force field so he can't get to you yet. And you have a conversation with him, and he has a lot to. They have a lot to say. Legion is, first of all, there's a bit of confusion because Shepard can't wrap his mind around the idea that the Geth are a hive mind, which he should be able to do by now. It's really weird how he talks to this Geth like Picard discovering the Borg for the first time, and not like
Right.
somebody who is like, so you're a hive mind. But the Geth says that the Geth that Shepard has fought in the past are not Geth, they are heretical Geth. They're bad Geth. And that the Geth themselves have no ill will towards organics or humanity in particular. They do monitor.
It's sort of nuanced. I liked this because they were like, you know, the other Geth, they have a different belief because of a math error, essentially. It's like their logic
It's a
got a
rounding
little bit
error.
messed up. Yeah, and they rounded up instead of down.
And
But
that
he also
screws
sort of
everything
says,
up
like,
afterwards.
neither is necessarily incorrect. Like, their truth is their truth and ours is ours, but we just can't figure it out. And Legion has, like, 1,000 Geth in it.
Yeah, he's got a little
right.
over they have a little over 1,000 Geth. Miranda is there, and she gives that classic biblical quote that I don't know off the top of my head about, you know, we are Legion. I am Legion.
You know, that
We are the many that are
kinda
one.
doesn't make sense that he has a certain number of Geth in him, because the way that Geth talk is that, like, there's no individuals, so there cannot be 1 or 2 or 3 Geth. There's always one Geth that
It's
just
like-
occupy a bunch of different bodies, right?
But it's like, imagine if your computer, all the little processes that make your computer or your phone, for example,
But that's just
run.
a computer. That's
Imagine
just a computer.
if each one was an AI that had its own, like, personality.
But that
And they
defeats the
seem to-
purpose of a hive
but
mind.
those-
If they're
each
all
of the
distinct
Geth-
personalities, it's not a hive mind anymore.
But they're not
Nah.
distinct personalities. They're just distinct, like, individual programs that do different things. But they all
Yes.
are like AI, and the programs themselves are the Geth, not the robot that's standing in front of you. So this particular Geth has a little over 1,000 little AIs running it, and they make up this Geth. And they are also able to communicate with the Geth as a whole, which makes them a hive mind. But they're not constantly in contact with the whole hive mind. They're constantly in
the
contact
Geth
with
is
themselves.
software, not hardware. And the software is sometimes connected to the internet and sometimes not. And the internet is like where the hive mind comes in. So, like, you can connect your PC to the internet or you can turn it off, you know.
But every little
So they
function that
can,
your
like-
PC does is its own little personality.
Right. So they can, like, think for themselves.
Yeah,
And then
they
when
do.
reconnect, he says that when they reconnect, like, they form a consensus because they can process so quickly. So
Well,
it's
and he-
not.
He talks about that a lot in this mission,
Oh,
about
you're
how
right.
they can't reach a consensus because they're all little individual personalities and they seem to just rule by,
Yeah, and
democratically,
on
I
this-
guess.
Yeah, on the loyalty mission, I'll say he just like for a shorthand of the particular Geth we are talking to, the spokesperson Geth for these collections of Geth.
The spokesgeth.
The spokesgeth. Spokesgeth tells us that, like, oh, we can't figure out what to do. It's like 51% for and 49%, against, and that's too close a thing to be called a consensus.
Yeah.
So we're just deadlocked. We need the vice president to come and tie break this vote.
I really like this concept a lot. I think it's super fun that it's like it's a race of little AIs of little computer functions that have to all work together to work. It's neat. It's a really neat idea.
Yeah, I like it. I like that they can connect or disconnect from the sort of whole. And it's not that they're like all becoming one personality. It's just that they're able to communicate so quickly. It's like if I sat down and told you everything I did in one day in, half a second. And then you take on those experiences as if they're your own, but they're not.
So anyway, so they
Hive
dub.
mind seems a little more sinister than what they're doing. I guess.
They dub the Geth, this Geth. They call it something specific, actually, like the Geth terminal in front of you. But they dub it Legion, and Legion joins the team, and Legion's fun. Legion's neat. He explains, and we talked about this a little bit, but I'll go through the whole thing here. There are good Geth, and they just want to make a future for themselves in the galaxy that do not have it out for organics, but some of the Geth started worshiping Sovereign, and you refer to as, you say like, oh, so they worship the Reapers, and he says, no, they say, Legion, they say, no, Reaper is a superstitious term among our people. We call them the Old Machines.
Ooh, that's a super cool name, too. Mm-hmm. The Old Machines is dope.
This is real cool.
And, like, he says that, like, in his like going forward, that's how he refers to the Reapers, and it's dope. I wish everybody would do that.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that you get a little taste of this Geth. This is the most interesting thing I think that we've run across in this game. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, and it annoyed me that I ran into this in the last 2 hours of my game.
Calling them Reapers is it's kind of stupid. You know what?
Yeah,
that's a stupid
for
name.
sure.
That's a stupid name for an enemy. Or it's the Reaper.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Legion has a loyalty mission. If you talk to Legion again, he'll tell you that the Heretic Geth are creating a virus that'll turn all of the Geth heretic. And he describes it as Vanessa said earlier. It'll change a function to return a 1 instead of a 2, and that'll fuck everything up. Round down instead of up, and it'll fuck everything up. Mm-hmm. So it's housed on a Geth space station, and Legion wants to go there and destroy it. So we head to the Geth space station, and when we get there, Legion is like, oh no, they've completed the virus, but I can reprogram it and turn all of these Geth back into non-heretic Geth. And they have, I think, there's some of the most interesting stuff in the game, some conversations about, like, is it moral to essentially brainwash all of these AIs into believing what we want them to believe?
Yeah, I can think of, a theoretical scenario where maybe you have like a country and some of the people in that country have started to believe, I don't know, that space lasers cause forest fires or something like that. And they're like making a virus to make everyone think that space lasers cause forest fires. And then it's like, what's better, to re-educate these people forcibly or to eliminate them?
Or to murder them all.
Yeah. Oh, this is terrible.
I don't
Never
like
mind.
this
That's
example
a bad
anymore.
No.
No, I don't like it either.
Myself, I chose to murder all of the heretic Geth. The mission itself is pretty cut and dry. You make your way through the space station fighting Geth.
I thought this part was kind of poorly designed.
Oh, really? The level itself?
Yes. I didn't like. I mean, I liked fighting Geth because like it's such. Throughout this entire game, you're just fighting the the eclipse of the blue suns or whatever. Like that's kind of the only enemy really.
Yeah.
When you get to fight Geth, it feels like a very welcome change. So I liked fighting the Geth. But man, this level, it's like too fucking dark, and all the textures are the same, and everything's the same color. Like it's hard. It's just not. It's not fun to look at, and it's not fun to move around in.
I'm gonna be honest with you. At this point, I turned the game down to casual because I did finish this today, and I had to blow through it, and it goes a lot faster on casual. So I didn't have a tough time with fucking anything.
I mean,
happened.
it's not tough. It was kind of shitty to look at.
Just shitty to look at.
I'm still playing it on hard, so I did find that I maxed out the freeze spell or what biotic ability or whatever it is.
Cryo ammo.
No, as a tech, I can shoot this like freeze thing that does a area of effect, and so that would get every single husk, like 4 husks at once if they're next to each other. So that was really useful because then they just shatter.
I took Tally with me onto this Geth ship just to sort of like try to get her to think a little bit differently about Geth because she's super Geth racist. I love the relationship between the Quarians and the Geth, though. I think that's really cool storytelling, and how some Geth obviously resent the Quarians, but some of them are like, no, I mean, the Quarians created us, and but what choice did we have but to, when we realized that we were enslaved, essentially.
Yeah, and
it's
the Geth Quarian stuff in Mass Effect 3 is the best part of that game, too.
Because it's a complicated thing. It's like the Quarians didn't know that they were making a new species.
Yeah, this should have been the entire game. Is what I would posit.
Yeah, this is
like
neat.
A lot of the stuff that we got is not good, but this is interesting, and they should have done what was stuck with what was interesting and not padded it out with a bunch of crap.
It's very prescient too, because like AI is such like a big topic nowadays, and was back then as well.
If you think about it, it's kind of realistic as a concept, because that is kind of our solution to a lot of problems, is to create simple AIs that can, like we see them in games, they can do simple tasks, but each one of those is an individual AI. Now they're not they're not conscious or however you want to phrase it, but
right.
If
well,
they became
they're not self-aware. They're not
this
Skynet
is what
yet.
they would be like. They would be. It would. If AI came to life, if AI became self-aware, it wouldn't be robots stomping around. It would be the program that plays the enemy in the game that you play, and it would be the thing that checks your fucking weather app for you or whatever.
It's like in Maximum Overdrive when the AI that serves the sodas shoot out a soda that hits your dad in the dick.
Yeah, exactly. And then crushes his head in with a can.
Yeah.
So I chose to murder
and also
all
murdered
the
a bunch of Little League baseball players with cans of soda.
What was the Paragon option here? You cleanse the Geth, you save the Geth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Vanessa can word it better, I'm sure.
Oh, just that you rewrite them.
Yes, rewrite. That's a word I can think of.
And it says that, it will take a while for the idea to spread, but then they sort of hope. It's like they aren't willing to just, like, give up the Quarian homeworld, because it's their homeworld, too. But there is some indication that, like, maybe someday Geth and Organics can reach some kind of consensus.
You essentially, like, give them an inception. Where like you plant this little nugget of an idea in their system, and the idea is that it would like continue to propagate.
Yeah, I really do love this. I mean, and Matt is right. Like, you could write a game or any kind of story really about humanity creating these AIs, and then the AIs becoming sentient, and then dealing with like, because if we had that sophisticated of an AI that had like little robot bodies. Like, the Quarians sort of moved to a post-labor society because they had AIs doing it for it. And theoretically, that's where humanity will end up, because why wouldn't we?
I call the game Detroit Become Human.
Oh, that's a great idea for a game, John.
Thank you. By the way, we're guest star David Cage on
No, thank you.
I know.
for our 250th episode. Let us welcome to the podcast.
This
David
is my
Cage.
favorite podcast on CC Today.
David Cage, you can be on the show if you promise not to render me in a suggestive way.
Too late.
Promise.
Press X to shower, Vanessa.
They created the giant woman in Resident Evil 8.
He did it again.
Unfortunately, by the way, listeners, it was only Matthew Van Zandt who said the rest of the game was terrible. Please direct any of the hate mail towards Matthew Van Zandt and only Matthew Van Zandt.
Yeah, this is still one of my favorite games.
Yeah, it's great.
Totes.
Thumbs down.
Then,
squarely against.
After we deal with Legion, Tally gets heckin' pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't get this, but I did read about it a bit. Can one of you...
Okay, well, at least here's the way that happened. It unfolded for me. Tally's like, hey, Geth Boy here was like scanning all my research and all the stuff we were researching against the Geth. And he's like, yes, because you're planning on ways to destroy the Geth, and I need to know these so that we don't get destroyed. And then Tally's like, yes, but we can't have the Geth looking through this stuff. It's super important that we have tactics to retake our planet, because that's like a huge thing for us. And then so it's just like the Miranda Jack fight, where you can either choose a side, or if you have enough Paragon or Renegade points, in this case maxed out, then you can make them both happy. I did not have it maxed out, so I was like, Tally, point your gun away from this, you know. And then Tally got so mad every time I tried to talk to her after. She's like, why don't you go talk to your toy, your stupid Geth toy? And I was like, geez,
I was
Tally.
able
So
to make them both happy.
racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, hey, Tally, you know, it's kind of totally understandable that our friend Legion is a little bit concerned with you, like, trying to genocide him, and maybe we can figure something out. And Legion's like, if I don't send information back to the Geth, they'll think that I'm, like, hostage or something, and they'll come blow me up. And then you're like, Tally, maybe you can give Legion some non-classified information. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, this is the one that felt like the best definition of a compromise. Otherwise you just kind of have to pick a side, but this one felt like you were legitimately like settling a dispute in a way that made them both happy. I thought the writing on this was pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best parts of the writing are usually the person, like, talking with and getting to know your companions. I mean, there's a couple of weak loyalty missions. Some of them are really good. A couple of them are terrible. But I like the Legion one. I thought that going to his ship and sort of figuring out how to deal with the schism of the Geth was neat, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah. And I would say, not to get into any Mass Effect 3 spoilers, but the more time you spend thinking about the Geth issue and the Quarians and all of that, the more satisfying the ending of Mass Effect 3 can be.
Right, yeah. So at this point, I'd got a mission that was like, hey, there's this shipment of missiles that have been hijacked and are going to totally blow up this planet. Can you go take over the ship? And I was like, okay, I'll go do that. And so this is how this played out for me. We're like, okay, we're all going to go to the ship and do this. So every single player character, get into the shuttle so we can go take care of the ship with these missiles. And
yes, because Joker is going to install the IFF, or I guess Edie is.
yeah.
And so it's like, we can't like land or dock or something while we're doing this. So you're going to have to take the shuttle. And you're like, okay, I'll take the shuttle with 10 of my closest friends.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like a real school field trip feeling, like they're all piling into this little shuttle. They all got their little permission slips.
It's a magic school bus.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to learn about missiles today on the Magic School Bus.
So they all pile into the school bus and take off in the shuttle. And it's super fun. And then, boom! The Normandy is attacked by the Collectors. Oh no! Right when Shepard and all of the people who know how to do things are gone!
Well, Edie's like, hey, this thing's sending a signal that we didn't know about.
Right.
something's going super wrong here.
The whole thing was like you had to plug the IFF into the like Normandy systems, and they're like, well, if you do this, there's this small chance, but it's not going to happen, that the collectors could hijack all of our systems basically. And you do it, and but like Edie's like, nah, it won't happen. And then you do it, and immediately after the team leaves, Edie's like, they've taken control of the ship.
But she says that she can save the ship, and she tells Joker, you have to go unlock my AI's, I don't know, whatever, blocks.
Fucking behavior and inhibitor things.
And you take over as Joker!
Yay!
And this is where Joker gets over his brand of racism, which is hatred of AIs.
It's finally Joker's time to shine. But let us remember, the Joker is a real Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, his leg does not work well, so you kind of have
Well,
to
you get to
hobble
control
your way.
Joker. We didn't say
Yep.
that, I guess.
So you take over as Joker, and you kind of have to hobble your way through the ship, and really it's just kind of it's a fun scene, and I think it's a great idea, and I really liked this part of the game. But it does basically amount to you walk down a corridor as Joker and watch people get murdered. And if you stand around too long, you get murdered, and it's game
Except
over.
for one part where you have to stand around or else you get murdered.
Yeah, I got murdered like twice in that part because I didn't understand. I had to wait for these like guys to walk through the door and close the door.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
But yeah, he can't fight because he has brittle bone disease or whatever it is.
Except then you see him picking up a gun later, and I was like, wait, Joker could pick up a gun?
Yeah,
I don't think he has a disease.
there's
His
a
leg
part
is
later
screwed
where
up
like
from when he escaped the Normandy when it was destroyed.
yeah, there's like in the last scene of the game, Shepard is walking through, nodding at people, and he grabs Joker's hand and shakes it, and I was like, be careful.
No, I know, you can't do that.
Jeez.
And Joker's just standing there like wincing, like.
While Joker heads to the AI court to unlock Edie's whatever, the collectors are kidnapping all of the crew, and you get to watch them kind of dragged off or murdered. But you make it to Edie, and you unlock her locks, and she opens all the airlocks and hits the gas.
And as you're unlocking all this
all-
stuff, you're like, okay, so this is going to be the point in time. People are going to come back to be like, Joker, why did you do this? It's your fault because you allowed the AI to control the entire ship that we now
You're
have
the one
to
that flipped the switch.
You flipped the switch, and now we all have to constantly bow to our robot overlords.
It's like now we're all human batteries
Yeah.
because of this decision.
and
But
then
Edie does not turn you into a human battery. She opens all the airlocks and purges the collectors. It's pretty cool. She
then
spaces everybody.
My favorite line in the game is where he's like, "Oh, you really want to send me through another Jeffrey's tube or whatever Mass Effect calls them?" And she's like, "Yes,
Jeffrey's tube.
yes, I like to see humans on their knees."
Yeah.
And Joker looks at her. That is a joke.
Yes, Vagini
Jeffrey's
tells a
tube.
joke. So she hits the gas. She spaces the collectors. It's pretty great. Joker survives, and he sends a message to Shepard telling him what happened.
And as Shepard, as soon as you so I left to do this missile mission, but then you came back without doing the missile mission, and then Shepard, you have the option, since I won all my renegade sweet renegade points, to tell off Joker. It just seemed kind of mean. It's like, well, you
I
let
told
them
him off.
onto the ship. Bleh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, "Are you okay, little guy?" And he's like, "I'm okay."
He told me he wasn't okay.
But the rest of the crew is heckin' gone.
Yep.
And it shows really how useless they were.
They have been collected.
Yeah, they've been collected, and the ship still functions as normal.
Well, that's because Edie is now in charge of everything.
That's
okay.
true. That's true.
That makes sense.
See,
So we tell...
I kind of
Go
think
ahead,
that having that engineer, what's his name, Donnelly?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been mentioning this, but every time I walk past him, he's sexually harassing a woman. I'm like, can I just make it so that we accidentally leave him in one of those goopy vats? 'Cause he sucks.
Yeah, that guy's horny on main.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna collect everyone except Donnelly.
He's making it
Yeah,
a very...
there's one part when he's like talking about Jack. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's a girl downstairs and she's not wearing a shirt."
Yeah. When you rescue everyone, Harbinger's like, "Don't you want Donnelly?" And you're like, "No."
So, as Jim said, we are going to have to go rescue our crew, or you can kind of be Dick Shepherd and be like, well, but we have to go anyway, so let's go. And you head through the Omega Relay. Bum, bum, bum.
Or you can choose to like dick around first.
I dicked around for a bit.
You can, and
The
I
longer you
did,
dig
and
around,
half
the
of my
more
crew
Who
died.
dies? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just did Legion's mission. I didn't realize that I couldn't touch the map first. Ugh.
For every moment of dicking around, one crew member dies.
So we punch it through the Omega Relay, and we get a fun cut. Yes, ma'am.
Let me set the mood. It's time for the Omega Relay pre-part. What we gonna do as we pass through that relay? It's gonna take 2 hours. That means it's time to fuck.
Oh, really? Did you do some romance stuff here?
Ooh,
Tell us all about
Tell
it.
us about your snake boyfriend.
My beautiful snake boyfriend with his thick, scaly lips.
Yes, my wife
so-
was murdered. So you're single.
Essentially. I've been spending some time getting to know Thane, and I was like, oh, yeah, tell me about your sad life story. And he's like, oh, yeah, my wife was murdered. You know about my son. He was going to be an assassin, but we stopped that. And now I guess I'm like all alone. And I'm like, and he goes, but it's nice to have you as a friend. And then I said, just a friend? And he's like, oh, intriguing. Then the next time I saw him, he was calling me Siha. And I was like, my name's Commander Shepard. And he's like, whatever, Siha. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like it. Like, I don't know what it means, but that's cool. And I guess it means like it's a goddess in his language, like a hunter goddess or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts talking about, like I'm dying and I thought my life was kind of over and I didn't have anything to live for. So that's why I was okay going on this mission where I was probably going to die. But now I have something to live for. And you're like, what is it? Is it me? And he's like, you. As we're flying through this portal, Joker's like, it's gonna take a couple hours, so why don't you just like hang out? And then Thane shows up in my
kiss.
quarters. Thane shows up and he's like, what's up? I'm scared to die. He gets a little frustrated. He like punches the console. He's like, I thought I was ready, but now, dang it, I caught feels. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna be dead, and I don't know. And then you can be like, just be alive with me tonight.
Kiss from
And
a rose
I kissed that snake.
It's like a Roman dictionary.
Snake. Yeah. And he was like, I've never been attracted to another species before.
He's like,
and I was like,
did you know when it
Sweet.
snows, my eyes become wide and the light that you shine can be seen? Baby!
baby. And this snake species, they have perfect photographic memory. So let me tell you, he's gonna remember what I did to him forever.
I snapped it off.
So it's okay, it grows back. It's a snake. So any of you have any romantic entanglements?
Sadly, no, because I did not have full Renegade, so I couldn't romance Morinth. And I was really, really hoping that would be how Bim Janks goes out. And so since that didn't happen, I decided to throw the suicide mission as much as I could. But what about you, Matt?
No.
I had to tell Miranda no 3 times. Actually, it was only once that she was coming closer to me when she was looking out the window moodily, and there's an option to smooch her, and I was like, let's tell her what good friends we are.
The only person that tried to get it with John Shepard was Liara, who was like, maybe I'll come up to the ship sometime, and I was like, nah.
Jim, did you get any space smooches?
I did not romance anyone in this playthrough.
Space smooches.
Next time when I'm playing at the end of the episode, I'll tell you about my plans for Mass Effect 3 that I think Vanessa will love.
Mm-hmm. I'm really surprised that none of you found love in this trying time as Commander Shepard racing across the galaxy.
I'm a Liara woman.
When
my Shepard wants and I'm a Liara person.
Vanessa,
I don't do the romance in these games. I just don't care. I don't care.
When I played this as a good Shepard, I did romance Liara for the first game, and then we made out when we saw each other, but we're like, we're kind of busy. So I did romance Garrus, which I felt was like a, compatriots, comrades going through a tough thing and sort of finding relief in each other's arms kind of deal.
They're just bonding over shared.
Yeah.
I have also played the Garrus romance in the past, and maybe my favorite moment in Mass Effect 2 is when I went to talk to, what's his name? Morden?
Oh, yes.
And Morden was like, so I see you're getting, close with Garrus. I just want to let you know before you start anything that there's some issues with ingesting DNA from other species. So probably don't swallow anything.
Can you romance Morden?
No, unfortunately, Solarians reproduce by just fertilizing eggs. They don't really have a romantic instinct.
But isn't that how the Krogan also repopulate?
No, Krogans aren't hatched from eggs.
Really? Oh, then I shouldn't have been yelling at Grunt to fertilize my clutch.
I thought that was just sexy talk that you were
Yeah, I thought that was just a reference I just didn't understand.
I just assumed they spawned like frogs because they look like frogs.
Well, you know what happens when you assume, John?
Assuming control.
Ooh. So I enjoyed this romance. It wasn't one I had done before, but I have always liked Thane. I've just found Garrus irresistible in the past.
Did he have a disassociating episode as you made love?
Yeah, he's had one of those episodes where he's remembering his wife. He's
no.
And you're like, I can tell you're thinking about her. Your eyes are doing that rapid thing.
And you keep talking about her perfume.
Really quickly. Yeah. And her amber sunset eyes. I have blue eyes, asshole.
Well, we should also... So is your Shepard's look the default look, or is your Shepard's look a custom character, Vanessa?
It's a custom character.
Because she has real Shirley Manson from Garbage vibes to her.
Yeah, I gave her some serious eyeliner.
Yeah.
It's great.
And bright red hair with that kind of severe part.
Just like me. So, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Kaidan. Y'all remember Kaidan?
I do.
Yeah. So once I started romancing Thane, I had this little picture of Kaidan in my quarters on my desk, and after I sort of made it official with Thane, the picture of Kaidan was face down on the table.
Oh, see, I figured something like that might happen, which is one of the reasons why I was going to romance Jack.
Yeah.
But when I went to, I just didn't pick the right choices along the way or something, because I just couldn't.
You have to be renegade to romance Jack.
Oh yeah, that's not me. She just wasn't having it. But after I was like, you know what? Good. Now now Liara doesn't have to look on as I bed another woman.
So, did anyone? There is an achievement, and this is sort of the last chance for you to finish. Did anyone get your fish living keep your fish alive throughout the entire game.
No, mine died instantly.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
I was sort of on a streak, and then I forgot to feed them one time.
Yeah.
And they died.
it's basically every time you go back, like every time you finish a mission, you have to go back to the ship and feed them, right?
Like a story mission, or even?
I think it's a story mission.
Like anything, like any away thing, I think.
Oh,
I
interesting.
don't know.
But it's at least in the third game you can. Oh no, isn't it in this one? You can romance Kelly Chambers, and one of the things that she will do is feed your fish.
Ooh, man, I flirted with her so hard, but I don't know, man, just could never really make it happen.
When I was playing, maybe she might only be into
Jim could
girls.
not romance.
Oh no, but
any...
you're playing a lady.
I am playing as a lady, and like she flirted with me a lot, but I don't know. I could never get the dialogue to progress past that first like flirt.
Jim, you got to learn to how to talk to women.
Guess so.
Yeah.
Because she threw herself at my shepherd back in the first time I played it. She had no interest in Bim Jenks whatsoever, though.
Interesting. Yeah, she
Weird.
was all about my my shepherd.
All right.
I mean, I'm trying to think like what it could be that she wouldn't like about Bim Jenks. I'm like, is it the pencil mustache?
The
Is it
hair?
Is it his
The
head
hair?
that's the size of the Normandy crew deck?
Yeah, is it his giant head? Is it his misshapen
his glowing
features?
red eyes that radiate evil?
Is it his what would you call that, ash gray skin?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his ashy gray skin.
Is it his utter disregard for everyone on the ship?
I did tell her off a couple of times, so that might be why she had no interest in Bim Jenks. But yeah, so who can you romance in this game? It's Kelly, for sure. Liara.
Tally.
Tally, Jacob,
Yeah, Miranda, for sure.
Garrett,
Jack.
Yes. Jack.
Thane. And I think, is that it?
Can you bone Legion?
I don't think you can bone Legion, Kasumi, or Zaid.
I wish you could romance Legion.
Yeah.
Click, click, click.
1011110.
Legion's romance is just reading fanfic on the extranet.
So
It's lubricating his moving parts.
we head through the Omega Relay, and the Normandy is attacked. Bum bum bum.
Yeah, by collectors, those jerks.
We emerge in a field of wreckage.
Yeah, this was neat because bunch of people have tried going through this special relay, but no one's ever come back.
Well, hold on. The thing that doesn't make sense to me about this is that you got this IFF thing, right? That is supposed to like let you traverse through this safely. You still end up in the same place that every other ship that went through this thing ended
still
up
get
at.
attacked.
You just survive it. But yeah, but like the only reason you survive is because you upgraded your ship so much.
Right.
So
And
like the IFF was just like useless, I guess. Is that the whole point?
No, because like collector ships are like heckin' big and tough. They can probably just bounce through that debris like it's nothing.
now, if you haven't done any of these upgrades, and you can get like a different upgrade from each crew member you recruit, if you don't do any of them, you're going to lose a couple of crew members just in that cutscene. Like, Tally will die or someone will die. Like, you see Tally, like, standing next to this plate glass window, and you're like, ooh, I know that if I hadn't got that shielding, she would just be flying through it.
Yeah, she gets sucked out. That would be great.
Yeah, these collector ships called Oculus that look like eyes attack the Normandy, and Joker does do some fancy flying through the wreckage to like blow a bunch of them up. One of them blows its way into the cargo hold, and Shepard and crew have to go fight it while Joker tries to fly through this wreckage field.
It's a pretty fun
shields were
fight.
upgraded.
Every time there's an enemy that is like supposed to represent a piece of human anatomy, I'm just like, why? There's much more efficient versions of everything. Like, why are you making that look like a human thing? That doesn't make any sense.
It looks
No, it
like
doesn't
those
make a lot of sense.
servitors from Destiny.
Yeah, it does.
If you upgraded your kinetic shields, the ship remains intact. I guess if you didn't, it doesn't. Did anybody fail to upgrade? Good, we did all the loyalty missions. So
Yeah,
all of us are
it's
gonna
the
have
shield. There's the shields, the armor. There's the weapon that you use to blast apart the collector ship. So it's like a real Sega CD game.
And this is the point of all that planet mining we've been doing.
Yep, you did all. If you got all those upgrades, the ship survives. We get to the collector base, and we see the collector base and the collector ship that destroyed the original Normandy at the beginning of the game attacks you. But again, if you upgraded your guns via the Garrus loyalty mission, you have this big ass plasma cannon that blows the shit out of this thing, and it's pretty great actually.
Yeah, that was great.
But you do take some hits, and you crash into the collector base. And at first they're like, oh no, they must be rushing this way. And then they're like, nobody's coming. They may not have any sort of alarms. They may not ever have expected anybody to get this far. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and then Shepard's like, what, they see us out the window? And it's like, no, they don't have any windows.
Yeah, they don't have windows, is what Legion tells us. Or somebody tells us. So we head into the collector base, and we fight a ton of collectors. I mean, it's just like a big, long... This mission is one big, long corridor of killing collectors.
It's like platform to platform to platform.
Well, we're not there yet. You find your crew.
Oh, this is
along
the
way.
corridors first, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, for
you're
me,
like flipping these vent switches.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
where you make your staffing
we have
choices.
some decisions to make.
Yeah.
You have to assign some squad members to do some tasks. You choose a tech person to open a door, and they may or may not die. You choose someone to lead the second team.
Yes. And let's talk about how these decisions are made.
Yeah.
So you are like in your conference room planning out your thing. You're like, okay, someone has to go through the shaft who's really good at hacking. And then up pops a little like bio of all of your crew members. Well, not all of your crew, your special squad. And you get to read a little blurb about them and make your decision of who you're going to send in the tube. The game is pretty, like, strongly hinting. You know, it's like, I was reading these blurbs, and it's like, Legion, unsurpassed hacking skills.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like,
Oh, did you send Legion?
Interesting.
Yeah, he's one of the ones.
I sent Tally too.
I want to say that when I first played this game 10 years ago, I chose Morden, and he did not survive.
Oh, that's what I made, because I was so mad about not being able to romance Morinth, I made all the worst staffing decisions, including Morden.
One of the things I liked this set of choices specifically because it gives you like a hard choice to make where, like, you know, hacking is a specialty that some characters have. And then for the next one to choose the other team, in order to like minimize casualties on the other team, you have to pick like a good leader, which is like a soft skill, but like you can really only glean that from, you know, your conversations with the characters.
I picked Garrus because he had led a team of people before.
Yeah, that's what I did as well.
None of the
and
rest
some
of them
will like volunteer.
Yeah.
And Miranda, it seems like, will volunteer for everything.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
like,
I want to say,
I can do it.
I chose Tali, and she died.
Wow.
Does whoever you choose die?
No.
No.
Who did
When
you
did
send?
Tali die? In the vent?
Yeah, because he
No.
chose. Oh.
No, he chose
She did
Tali
not
to
die
lead
in the
the other
vent.
team.
I chose
Tali to do the tech mission.
Oh, so did
and
I, but
did
I
not get her trapped in the vents. I got her through the vents.
Yeah, and she does die.
She got shot.
Yeah.
No, I did that, and she's not dead.
No. Yeah, it depends on who you choose to lead the squad. If you choose a good leader and a good shot to lead the squad, then
chose
they will
Garrus.
cover
Oh,
Tali.
that's right. Because I chose. I mean, Garrus is kind of a terrible leader because his whole crime fighting unit fell apart. But
He was Batman.
I picked Jacob, and he was able to save Tali.
I picked Morden, and he did certainly get shot in the head. And I also picked
sad. That was shocking.
for leader. I chose
It happened to Tali for me.
Kasumi, who is, and people are like, this isn't raiding a bank vault, Shepard. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Kasumi can do it. She cannot. It is not within her skill set.
I like that. So as John was streaming this, because he streamed it to Twitch, Johnny Barnstorm on Twitch for John, by the way. Vanessa and I were talking about how awful it was to see all this stuff happen. I told John, I was like, John, you're traumatizing everyone on this stream right now with all these terrible decisions.
I thought it would be fun and funny, but it wasn't.
Yeah, Vanessa's like, I thought this would be funny, but it's not.
Especially when
Really
my
upsetting.
special boy died. I got so upset.
Yeah.
So this is the point where we get to the goop tubes. I think that Matt should talk about the goop tubes.
With Dr. Chocolates.
Dr. Chocolates.
This scene was super gross.
Good job, Matt.
Thank you. This scene was super gross, and because I got there, I did the Legion loyalty mission in between. I got there late, and I did get to watch Ensign Kelly get melted down into goop. But I did save Dr. Chocolate, and she said that she watched half of the crew get melted into goop. But half of the crew is alive, and it does give you the option at this point to send somebody back with the crew to the ship. Mm-hmm. And for this, I chose, you don't have to do this. You can renegade and be like, figure it out for your fucking self.
I did that. John did, and I was like, holy shit.
At this point in the game, I was like, I hate this renegade shit, and I gave up. So I did send Morden, because he is a doctor. I did send Morden, and he did get them through safely.
Yes,
back
the
to the
thing
ship.
about Morden is, because like Morden is the character that has the highest likelihood of death the longer he's on the collector ship. So the sooner you can get him back to the Normandy, the better if you want him to survive. So the first chance you have, which is right here, to send a party member back to the Normandy, it should be Morden here, or else there's a pretty good chance he's going to die.
Isn't this the only chance you get to send somebody back to the Normandy?
Yeah, I guess. I
so.
sent Jacob, though.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, I felt like it. He seems like the kind of guy who would do a good job.
I sent, like, when I did this the first time, I sent Grunt because I was like, well, he can take a lot of damage, and he's good at that. And so, yeah, that they survived fine. But for...
Yeah, Morden definitely has, like, he has the most sensitive, like, odds of being killed, and it's affected by the longer he's on the collector ship.
Isn't there a second part we can send people back to the ship, too? Like, right before the end? I think you can...
Yeah, but
maybe.
you can still, like, Morden can still live, but, like, it's harder to keep him alive if you don't choose him at this point.
Right. So what I did was I told Dr. Chocolates to go, defend herself and threw her a spare gun or something.
The most unbelievable part of this was Chocolates was like, you're right. We can do it. Wait.
And then the narrator comes in. They didn't.
Yeah.
So now the ship is swarmed with those collector bugs, and they say that Morden, it's too many for Morden's fix, whatever that was. I don't remember anymore from the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
To handle.
He had a pheromone
choose a biotic
spray.
to come with you to like use their biotics to keep a bubble around you.
The thing that I thought about when I was watching this on John's stream that I didn't think about during my playthrough was, why couldn't you pick like 2 biotics and make an even stronger shield?
Yeah, I don't know. But this is another thing where Samara's like, yeah, I could generate a biotic field. Like, everyone knows I'm a super powerful biotic. I can do it. And then Miranda's like, I could also do it.
Yeah, Miranda's a fucking idiot.
Anyone with biotic powers can do it.
I was surprised that Jack didn't speak up.
theoretically, anyone
Jack did
could.
speak up. I picked Jack to do this.
Yeah, Jack and the 2 best choices are Jack and Samara for this.
Yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I chose Samara, and she did a great job. We get through the bugs, and we get to, as Jim alluded to earlier, one of those sections where floating platforms create a bridge.
Yeah.
You have to kill monsters on each one. You have to kill collectors on each one. And
I like this part. I don't know why. Like, for whatever reason, I find these little monster bridge.
it's not too bad.
I just find them fun.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, at least it wasn't like an escort mission where your biotic was taking damage and shit. That would have been a
Right.
bummer.
So
But
Yeah.
this time I took Jacob, and I don't remember this happening with Samara, but maybe it's been a long time since I did that the first time. Does Samara pass out at the end, or is she fine throughout the whole thing?
She does not pass out at the end. She does like a big like push at the very end that shoves all of the bugs out of the room.
Oh,
and then
okay.
just like pants, actually. I was
Yeah.
like, Samara, you're fucking awesome.
I think Jack
Yeah.
did that too.
Yes.
She struggles a little bit. She's
Yeah.
like, I'm tired, but then she manages.
But Jacob and I bet Miranda too pass out at the end. Where
Oh, I
they're
bet,
like,
yeah.
So then, does that mean that poor Jacob got swarmed or something like that? John?
no, Jacob didn't get swarmed, but unfortunately, Grunt did get super killed at this point, and I was
wow.
very upset. I was like,
You know, I
It was
never really
kind
used
of
Grunt.
amazing.
yeah.
It's like they swarm him and they take him away.
Yep.
Like they fly him away.
I was like,
amazing.
no, my sweet precious
Yeah,
boy.
it's just like goodbye.
Wow, that's funny. So we get through this section. We get through the floating platforms. We make it to like a door, and basically at this point you choose your final. This is what happened for me. Maybe it was different for you. I'd love to hear about it. For me, it was like, hey, it was basically like, hey, choose your final squad, and I was like Kasumi because she's fucking awesome, and Legion because Legion's fucking awesome.
Also, while we're doing the swarm thing, we have we choose another leader
Right.
for the rest of the team. And John, who did you choose as your leader for the rest of the team, and how did that go?
I don't. Was that when Grunt got killed? I think that must have been Grunt, and that's where he got
That may have
killed.
been Grunt, yeah.
No, that was Jack.
Oh, right. Yeah, Jack super gets killed too.
Yeah,
Yeah, she does. She
if
gets
you-
shot. I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I chose for that one myself, but you get to the final door basically, and it tells you you do have to make one more choice here. They tell you that Shepard looks at the situation. It says a team could hold this corridor from anything coming from the rest of the ship. I'm gonna pick my final squad and a leader for this final mission to hold the door, and I'll leave the rest of you here to defend it. Now, I don't know if that played out exactly the same for you. Personally, I chose Jacob. I don't even really know why. I just kind of decided on Jacob. I figured he was the guy.
Well, I picked him because of his like military experience.
Yeah, exactly. So I picked Jacob here. I would love to hear who you guys picked and how this final scene played out before we get to the big finale.
I kind of rushed through this, but Jack did. She did get super shot, and then I do come across her right before doing the final bit, and I was like, "Oh no, Jack!" And Jack's like, "I thought I could do this," and then she died. It was very sad.
I picked Garrus again. He did a good job leading the first time, and he does a fine job leading the second time. He did get shot, but he was okay. He just gets shot in like the side, and then you sort of give him like a thunk on the back, like good going. How about you, Jim?
I picked Jacob as well.
And then you get to do a speech
Or no speech,
or no speech.
or a bad speech.
I gave an inspiring speech about how we're here to save everybody, like not just humanity, but the whole universe, and how we can do it. How about you, John?
I gave a speech about how we wanted revenge for Jack, who got killed, and all these other people who got killed, and we were coming here and they weren't expecting it, and we're gonna kill the hell out of them. What about you, Matt?
I gave this a similar speech. I was like, "Fuck all these motherfuckers," and also we run this place, woo woo woo.
Yeah.
And then we.
What about you, Vanessa?
I already said.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me.
And then
You are not pardoned,
choose
sir.
who is going to be your final squad.
Now, Vanessa suggested that I choose Tali because she became unloyal to me. I guess disloyal is a real word. After I did take Legion's side in an argument. So Vanessa suggested having an unloyal person in this part would be interesting. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I also chose
Took.
Miranda.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I also took Miranda and I don't remember who else. I think Garrus.
I remember if you're playing Paragon, Miranda's ending here. Miranda has some special scenes here at the end when she turns against Cerebus that are pretty great. I bet Jacob would too.
Yeah, I don't know, because I sent him back to the Normandy because he has, I don't know, daddy issues. I didn't want to deal with him. So, yeah, then we've been wondering this whole time, like, why are they melting down people? What are they doing with their genetic material? And here's where we finally get the big reveal.
I kind of love it.
A baby.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It
Excuse
makes
me.
perfect sense.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to cut in here and say, I mean, Vanessa's correct. They are making a baby. But that baby is a fucking Terminator. They're
It is a
making a
Terminator.
gigantic space Terminator.
In the game, they
Don't
say...
hate it. It
they
is
say,
a
"Oh
giant
my God."
space Terminator.
In the game, they say,
you know
"Oh
what
my
the
God,
Reapers
they're
are?
making a human Reaper."
Did
And
you know
my
that the
first
Reapers...
reaction was like, why the fuck are they doing this? Reapers are supposed to be able to fly around space and do cool shit all the time. Humans can't do that. What's this human gonna do? Fucking moonwalk through
Listen.
across the galaxy?
Did you know that this game has a giant space Terminator for the final boss? Because it's pretty
It's a
fucking great.
It is. Man,
It's a
I
baby
thought,
giant space Terminator.
They you know what? Mass Effect 3 ending controversial. People should have been mad about this because it is dumb.
I can explain
know.
everything.
It
Listen
is.
up.
All right.
You know how the Reapers that we're familiar with sort of look like big old bugs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because they are part Reaper, part Prothean, who also looked like big old bugs. And what the Reapers do is every, 50,000 years or whatever, they're like, time to make a baby. And they go out and they find a species that they like the Protheans. And they're like, we're going to melt you all down and then we're going to have a baby with you. And then they birth new Reapers. And the Reapers are a mix of whatever species they melted down and technology. That's
Can I ask
why
a question?
They should have they should have halfway built this Reaper and been like, we made a mistake. we need to go grab an Elcor. We need to grab a Hanar.
Does anybody
because
else-
these humans just don't make any sense.
Does anybody else suspect that the actual concept here for when they were writing this out on their storyboards or whatever before they made it a game was that the Reapers were Galactus? Because that's what they're making is Galactus, a giant man that's going to come
That's
eat
true.
the world.
Yeah.
They make a Galactus that looks like a Terminator.
it's a baby, and I don't
And it's
know
a
why.
baby.
Guys, if a
This is
giant space
confusing
Terminator
me.
landed on Earth now, people on the internet would call it daddy and ask it to touch their butthole.
Stomp on me, daddy.
People on the internet would also refuse to
Step on
believe
me,
it was
Daddy.
real as it destroyed the planet.
Yeah.
And some people would assume it's Jesus and worship it.
That's true. And
Just like the Geth, worshipping the old machines.
you can see also like they took some notes about what humans look like, but maybe took them kind of fast or were watching TV at the same time. So like 3 eyes, lots of glowy
it's a
tummy
Terminator.
bits.
I think that y'all are being way too harsh because this baby is not fully developed.
What is-
They make it clear that it is just an embryo. So what we're seeing now is just like the early developmental stage. When it's done cooking, it's not going to be a Terminator with just like its weird bones sticking out. It's
Yeah.
going to have like lungs and fleshy bits.
fighting like
and
a
it's gonna be
robo
super
fetus.
cool looking.
What
My
do they
theory.
call the Terminator skeleton? Was it an exoskeleton?
No,
Yeah,
it's
that
an
would be
Exo
inter-
inter.
is on the outside.
Yeah, well, that's my point. Isn't that what they call it? Did they call it an exoskeleton?
And they did. But my theory is that
But it,
would
does
be
go
like
inside the body.
a giant perfect man. So out steps from the if you hadn't destroyed this base, out from the smoke on Earth steps a giant 300-foot tall Bumberbink cummerbund.
And then he does the Urkel.
Destroying cities as with every step. So
Yeah, he
a
steps
couple
on
of things
New
here.
York City and then goes, "Did I do that?"
Sorry, with an English
we
accent?
get into
Did
a
I
fight
do
with the
that?
collectors, and the main hive collector takes over bodies constantly to keep us from destroying this. We say we can't destroy it; it's too big. Our guns aren't going to work. But it's got these giant injections that are injecting like human slurry into it, and that's somehow making it alive, I guess.
They're called fallopian tubes. I really liked, or not fallopian tubes, umbilical cords. I really liked this concept, because the Reapers, they're just kind of doing their thing. They're not evil. They just want to have a baby with us.
Mm-hmm. But they got to learn about consent. That's not just a human
So we
idea.
destroy these injection tubes as we fight the collectors, and the Reaper does fall. It's suspended to like the ceiling.
Yeah, and it's just like one shot of your little, like for me, my main little pistol breaks each one of those injectors.
Yeah,
they're very delicate. I mean, it's just an embryo, really.
You have to fight a wave after breaking each one, and eventually you do destroy it. It falls, and it falls, and then it like climbs over the edge of the platform that you're on, and like screams at you. Before it falls, when it's still suspended, they're like, it's a fetus, like we don't even know how aware it is, but then it does sit up and like fight you at the end here, and you have to shoot it in the eyes, basically.
It's just like
I wish there had been like a Paragon dialogue of like, well, I can't kill a baby. Let's just go home.
Yeah.
It does remind me a bit when it's like going over the ledge.
Wait. Vanessa, what are you suggesting?
You're right. That was a cruel suggestion. No, you know what? You can't get me to say that, because that metaphor doesn't even hold water.
You're
of
the one that
course,
made
I
the metaphor.
believe
I
in
didn't
a
make the
woman's
metaphor.
right to choose. But, I don't believe that other people should be making that decision for her. So if this collector base doesn't want to birth this human baby, that is fine by me.
But it's
I
not the
don't
collector base
believe-
that makes that decision. It's Shepard, an outside.
Exactly.
So
And you know what? It's not good when
Well-
a representative of government, as Shepard is, as a Spectre, comes and decides you can't have a baby.
that is
Would you
true.
go back in time and kill baby Hitler is kind of the question, because this baby Galactus is going to destroy the world.
Of course I would. That would be hilarious.
But if it had already finished forming and looked just like Benedict Cumberbatch, would you have killed that baby?
How could I with the face of an angel?
So we're glad we got there when we did. I do like that so for the final form of Baby Terminator, it does like lean on the platforms you're on like a child in one of those booster seats making a mess, and it's like slamming the table that you're on.
Yeah, it like slaps it. I loved this. You know what? I know it's silly, and I know it like doesn't really make sense as much as I'm defending it, but I thought this was a really fun final fight.
Yeah,
I
it was
agree.
fine.
I think this is the best. This is one of the. Listen, I have a lot of problems with this game. This is one of the better endings to a goddamn RPG that I've seen. We've done a lot of fight God at the end, but this one was a giant fucking space Terminator. It was fun 10 years ago. It was fun today.
Yeah, it was silly, but like it was a fun boss battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how many video games really have satisfying endings? I loved like all the stuff, the decisions you make about who lives and who dies, and the sort of consequences of these relationships you formed. I really liked it a lot.
I like that
So
that
you
it boils down to an HR test at the end, showing your staffing skills and
Yeah.
who to put in what role.
Yeah. You destroy the Terminator, and it does fall to the floor or whatever and die. And you have the choice now. You get to make a choice now. You're going to blow up the ship, and the illuminated man does
FaceTime.
stick his fucking nose in. Yeah, he FaceTimes and tells you, Martin Sheen has to show up and be like, well, listen, what if you don't destroy the base and we keep it and we you learn from it? And obviously your crew is like, blow this thing up. And you have to make a choice. I was playing Renegade, so I did choose to hand the goddamn atomic bomb over to the Nazis. Boo. I'm sorry. I shouldn't call them Nazis. That's insensitive. To the Proud Boys. I decided to hand the fucking bomb over to the Proud Boys, I guess. I don't know. I hate everything that I did in this game.
Humanity first.
Yeah, when he was like, now, hear me out. Instead of blowing up the base, we have the prime opportunity to get the Reaper's technology and learn from it and use it. And my Shepherd's like, keep talking. stroking his pencil thin mustache. What about you, Vanessa?
And I was like, you mean use it for humanity? And he's like, you're human, idiot. Why do you want to share with other people? And think of all I've done for you. I brought you back from the dead and blah, 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 blah. And then I was just like, oop, I'm going through a tunnel. Boom. Hung up the phone call.
And if you have Miranda and you're doing the Paragon, she's like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Consider this my resignation. She's all like sassy to...
Yeah, it was great. She's like, no, we're not going to do it.
Well, I did. So I did get one more phone call with the imaginary man at the very end where he was like, congratulations, and you did a great job by giving me this technology. And Shepard gives him the old like, hey, fuck you, and if you don't use this for humanity and you try to like use it for yourself, I'll kill you. And then you get to hang up on him. You get to be like, peace, motherfucker! And you walk out the door, and Joker hangs up the call.
And he does stare at his like hologram of the Reaper base. He's and like sort of just has a cigarette and freshens his drink. And I really like that as an ending. What happens if you do the good thing?
I did have another call with him, and he was like pissed.
Yeah,
Did you
you're
have that
basically
too, Jen?
like, fuck you, elusive man. Like, you don't get to control me. The Reapers are coming. Doesn't matter what you think. And it's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I was like, we're going to need everyone to solve this problem, not just stupid humans.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Go to hell.
Can you believe it? We finished this fucking game.
I really feel like we should mention, so like if any of your party members die during the game, there's this little kind of like epilogue where it shows like Shepard, basically walking through a hallway and nodding at everyone on the Normandy, and then there's a shot of him kind of looking at all the caskets of his fallen party members. John's room was full of caskets.
Yeah.
There were so many caskets.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned that after you defeat the baby, the room starts falling apart, and like you're sliding down, you have to like reach for one of your crew members, and then you'll get flung away. And because Tali wasn't loyal, I guess, which really doesn't make a lot of sense, she got bonked on the head with some like structural supports, right?
Yep, and she super died. So goodbye, R.I.P. Tali Grunt.
Yeah, Tali did die for me as well.
Dr. Chocolates.
All right, now I'm going to put this out there. Whenever we
Donnelly.
play Mass Effect 3, be it next year or in 2 years, y'all got to catch me on the front end and say, Matthew, you need to play FemShep, and you need to play Paragon, or you will hate this game.
Yeah.
And by then, the remaster will be out. So who knows? We might even decide to just do the remaster. Hopefully, it will come with something that will import our decisions, or we'll be.
I'm sure
like,
there'll be some
plug them
kind of
in.
like, make.
There'll be some kind of like character, like save file reader.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm looking
that
into
should
going
be...
fresh with a new Shepard that I don't fucking hate.
Me too. Bad Vanessa or Vanessa will be my Shepard next
I'm
time.
excited and honored that you've chosen to make a Vanessa. However, I have seen what you did to Bimjank's face, and I'm a little scared.
But
Well,
that
I was responsible for that.
Yeah, that was totally Joe.
Because on John's Twitch, I told him that all of the worst facial features made it look like me.
Before we talk about what we are squarely against, let's real quick talk about the next game and where we're playing to. Next week, we're playing Final Fantasy VIII.
Lost Odyssey.
Lost Odyssey, I've already downloaded. I'm excited to play it. I think we should do it after.
No, we're doing a vote.
Well, we have a vote, I guess. So the next game that's not a vote, I think, should be Lost Odyssey.
We'll see.
Well, what if Lost Odyssey wins the vote?
Is it going to be on the vote?
If
I
it's
guess
on
it
the
could be.
vote, and it doesn't win, then we kind of probably shouldn't do it next after that. So you
Yeah.
kind of got to make the decision there on what you want to
Because
do.
one person got mad that I always insist that my runners-up are played next.
So
Because I'm obsessed with Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the greatest video game of all time.
there's a new Werewolf the Apocalypse game that just came out. Actually, I wonder if it ties into Vampire at all.
It's getting decent, not great reviews, but decent ones.
I mean, that's interesting to me. I'm interested in
Yeah.
it. I like Werewolf.
I like werewolf shit.
Anyway, we are playing Final Fantasy VIII starting next episode with episode number 251. And for that episode, we are playing Intel.
I think we should play, because there's going to be a lot to talk about in the beginning, to the end of the seed entrance exam. I think that's a good
Is that
spot.
the seed dance that we?
Yes.
y'all
So
were talking
like
about
basically the when the night ends after the seed like inauguration ball or whatever.
That's with the big dance scene, right?
There's a dance scene, and then there's a scene with Quistis, and you have to save Rinoa from a boss in the training area. So like
Okay.
after that.
Okay.
All right, that's what we're playing to next time. So let's dive into the part that everybody just dying to hear every season. What are you squarely against or roundly for Mass Effect 2? Vanessa.
Hardcore roundly for.
Boom.
I think this is a great game. It was great when it came out. It's still pretty good, although, the limit of its scale becomes apparent when you compare it with modern games, but that's not its fault. It came on 2 discs for my Xbox 360 that I played it on, so that just shows you how far we've come.
Cool.
It's a great game. It has really good characters. I think the characters make it. I mean, Garrus is great. Mordin, like one of the best video game characters of all time.
Definitely.
It has interesting themes. It suffers from the male gaze a little bit, which they are correcting for the remaster, which is very exciting for me. We talked about it on the show before, I think, how I did not like all the butt shots, and those are going to be gone. And yeah, good game. Happy to see it come out on a remaster. If you haven't played along with us for this series, definitely give it a play. Let's see, Jim. Are you roundly for or squarely against this game?
Also roundly for, I started this game while I was on vacation in mid-December and loved it so much, and it was just such a fun way to spend my staycation that I finished it in 2 or 3 days. And I mean, besides like the collectathon achievements, I did everything you could do. I scanned every planet. I did every mission. I did all the side missions. I bought all the stuff for the crew and gave it to them. I did all I was a Paragon, so did all the good guy stuff. I love this game. I love this game so much that I played all the way through Mass Effect 3 after I finished Mass Effect 2. So I like Mass Effect 2. I think I'm glad we did it. I was on my first playthrough of the game. I wasn't super satisfied because Mordin died. And that's like of gaming things that like stuck with me, that the disappointment of seeing Mordin die in my first playthrough was a big one. So being able to play through again and have everyone survive was very gratifying. So yeah, I'm roundly for Mass Effect 2. What about you, John?
When I finished Mass Effect 2 the first time, I think Thane died, and I was like, I don't want this. So I did redo like the last half of the game and made everyone live because I was just wanted to come into Mass Effect 3. Perfect. I really like this game. I think Matt's right that it has some annoying edgelordy quests that don't really add much and are just kind of dark and extreme for the sake of being dark and extreme. But I really like a lot of the character moments. I like dealing with the Krogan. I normally hate uniform warrior races where they all have the same skill set and opinions, and I like that the Krogan, there are non-warrior Krogans, and that always it makes me like a species more when they have diversity. And I just I like a lot of the dumb side quests. I like a lot of the goofy humor. I like all the TV shows and ads and stuff. And I like the universe. So yeah, I am roundly for Mass Effect 2. Even if I did like Mass Effect 1 a bit better because it felt a little more RPG-y, I think this time around I didn't mind as much that it wasn't as RPG-y as Mass Effect 1. I think I was fine with it being a bit more streamlined. What about you, Matt?
Hey, I'm squarely against this piece of shit game.
Yikes.
It's a garbage game
Wow.
for idiot. Listen, I want to say I like this game, but I have to review the game. Not review, but I have to decide on the game that I played, and I played a really difficult class, which was my own fault, and I played a really shitty version of the game, which is what I decided to do up front. But for what I played, I have to say I didn't really enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. It was a chore. The combat's not good. It was probably better at the time, but it sucks now. And the stories were garbage, starring a garbage character that I hate. And I kind of wish they'd all died, you know? Like, it was bad. So
I do think it's interesting that they didn't write a satisfying Renegade Shepard. I've never tried playing as Renegade Shepard, but you can see how it would work. I think we've talked before about, like, if it was more of a Han Solo.
Yeah, or Jack Bauer.
Like, yeah, even if, like, Renegade Shepard was just, like, funny and flippant,
Yeah.
you know, and a little bit sarcastic, that would be really fun.
If the shot of like Renegade Shepard as you're leaving the collector base was him giving a double bird to Harbinger, that would have been amazing.
it could have been good.
And this is why this year we have to play Alpha Protocol, because you do have the option. There's 4 different ways to play your character, and one of them is that guy that gives double deuces to everyone. It's great.
So, you know, overall, I like Mass Effect 2 and wish I had played it smartly, and next time will, when we play Mass Effect 3, which I'll be a baby fresh eyes for. But for a Renegade playthrough of Mass Effect, I'm going to give it a big hard to squarely against. It sucked. I didn't like it. So, you know, I'm going to just, that's the truth. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, because everybody likes it so much, I must be wrong. It's bad. It's great if
Yeah,
you play
we
it as
value
Paragon,
your
maybe.
honesty. We will be reprogramming you.
That's fine.
To correct your way of thinking.
If you,
but,
there's a
you know,
lot of
don't worry
things that
about
I
it.
would
It's
like
not
you to
gonna hurt.
reprogram in my brain, so that works out well for me.
Couldn't we all use some
Yeah, for real.
reprogramming? I mean, man, like, I'm in therapy. I'm trying.
Hey, that's it for Squarely Against. We got an email. Vanessa, will you read the email for us?
I would love to read this email.
That's great.
Hey, you Squeenix people. I was listening to y'all's Final Fantasy X-2 Episode 4 and thought I could clarify Vanessa's question about men knowing each other's penis size.
Oh, no.
I don't know if this applies to all men, but I do know what most of my close guy friends' penises look like and size. But that's not the interesting thing. I lived with 2 of my lady friends for a while, and I found out about all of their current conquest sizes, because that's apparently a very hot topic. Really enjoy the podcast during my drive time, of which I have plenty. Thank you. Sincerely. It's unsigned, which is fair, since it's all about knowing penis sizes. Thank you so much for that email. I really loved it. I loved knowing that you know about your male friends' penises. And as a lady with lady friends, I can confirm that, you know, I'm not unaware of their partner's penis sizes. Of course, everyone is a little bit different. Some people have more of a willingness and an eagerness to share that information than others. I will say where it gets awkward is like when your lady friends are dating your guy friends, and then you find out things that you didn't necessarily want to know because otherwise you just would have dated those dudes yourself, right? But what's fun about penises is they come in so many different shapes and sizes, and some of them have like the little bit of extra skin and some of them don't. And I'm not just talking about foreskin. I'm talking about, like, you know, just sort of general like elasticity. John, maybe you can speak on this a little bit more.
No.
So, thank you very much. We appreciate the information. And if you know your friend's penis size, write in to squarerootspodcast@gmail.com and let us know.
I was going to say something, but I won't.
Do it.
I was going to say, I do know the relative size of every other male's penis, and it's because they're all smaller than mine. Anyways, good email.
Good email. Jim, why don't
It
you
was a
talk about
great
YouTube
email.
streams you've
Yeah.
been streaming?
Yeah, so we have been doing some live streams on YouTube of us playing. So far, we've played some classic point-and-click horror games. Started with Phantasmagoria. We played... you guys tried to play The 11th Hour. We played Harvester, and we just recently finished Darkseid 2. Next game on the list is Phantasmagoria 2 that we will do soon, which I'm very excited about. But you can look us up on YouTube, Square Roots. All of our videos are under the Square Roots account with the white logo. We'll consolidate those eventually.
No, we
but,
won't. Let's just.
Yeah,
We say
I
that
know.
every
We say that
week.
all the time, but we never do.
We don't know how to do it, and we're not going to do it.
So check those out. I think I legitimately think that our Phantasmagoria run and the Harvester run are like they're legitimately hilarious. They're such ridiculous games. It's just very fun to watch us all react to how crazy those games are. So check us out on YouTube. Matt,
You
will
can also find us sometimes on PUBG. If you are playing PUBG with a squad of your own, keep an eye out for our screen names. Maybe you can shoot us.
I don't know that anyone knows our gamer tags.
They don't need to.
Well, they don't need to, and they can figure it out, you know? Like, the four of us together, like, if you saw our 4 gamer tags together, you could figure it out.
I will say that my Xbox gamer tag is the same as John's Mass Effect 2 character name.
Okay.
Mine is La
Matt,
Isla Bonerita.
Stop saying Matt.
that's
It is
not what it is. Matt,
Don't
will
stop
you
saying
tell us
Matt.
about the Patreon?
No.
John, will you tell us about the Patreon?
Sure. We got a Patreon. It helps us buy games and stuff, and it's great. And it's got like 60 or 40, between 40 and 60 episodes. I forget exactly how many. But for $3 a month, you can hear every single one of them. That's right. No $10 tiers, no insane $20 tiers. We're not like that. We $3, you get all the episodes you want. And then for $5,
Some of them are listenable.
quite a few of them are very good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's
some
a
of
ton
them.
of great ones and a bunch of good ones, and there's a couple of stinkers in there.
Yeah.
I think our
13th
last
was a
one
mistake.
was like Chef's Kiss.
Yeah, I think the
was the last one?
DIDC was great.
DIDC. We didn't get a lot of feedback on that, and I'm not surprised.
Someone said they really liked it.
A
One.
couple people did, because I made it a point to ask a couple people in the episode release thread, and they said they really liked it.
Oh, well, that's good. And for $5 a month, you can
Of course, they're going to say that to your face.
Yeah, they'd be
vote.
like, oh no, I mean, it was good. Yeah, sure.
yeah, good job.
We do a few votes a year, but actually we are going to do one for the next game. So you'll get to vote along with all the other $5 Patreon patrons on what game we're going to do. And we'll come up with a list. I was thinking of maybe doing like a tiered voting for this one. So like, first you pick your absolute favorite, and then for round 2, it's going to be like, a tiebreak, not a tiebreaker, but like narrowing it down. So we'll do a couple of rounds of voting to really hone in our ultimate choice.
How many episodes do we think Final Fantasy VIII is going to be?
I'm going to say 8.
Okay.
8.
So we should probably start that by the end of February. Like do a week for each round of voting or something.
This is crazy. This is like one of them sports brackets.
You're like a sports bracket.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyway, so yeah, for $5 a month, and you get access to that, and it supports the show and helps us buy equipment. So thank you for being a patron. And the other way we say thank you for being a patron is reading out the names of every single Patreon patron we have.
Be aware, patrons, if you're listening to this episode the week it's released, you have 1 week to change your Patreon name to something Final Fantasy VIII themed. Don't make the mistake of forgetting to change it, or else someone will make fun of you.
Me.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, let's talk about
right.
patrons.
Yep, I will start reading the names this week. I would like to thank Ricky Barty, Rubber Bear, Jack Mazzell, Lauren Prince, Arthur A. Welcome to Cute Boy Jail, Honk Honk. Aiden Marriott, Fresh Eyes, WWE Mike G. Dylan Rowe, EP, Aaron J.L. O'Toole, Cassandra, Hands I Will Always Cuddle You, Joshua W. Bronxon, Vanessa's Renegade Cheese Plate, Jason Timms, It's Peanut Butter Jelly Time, Peanut Butter Jelly Time, Dan, Fable is great, but so is Threads of Fate, played in 2021, or the Cuzzle will still drizzle gallons and gallons all over the scoots. Soy Soda Pop, Vanessa's mom's Taco Bell gold-plated Sephiroth body pillow.
Sephiroth.
Hales, Tracy, William Westgard, insert clever name here, Wedge Kuhn, Ethan G. Pearson, mostly rational person. Chief Hazard built a guillotine that has the hungies for billionaires. Triple Triad Try Hard, that's a great Final Fantasy. Triple Triad is Final Fantasy 9?
No, that's 8 and 9.
Okay. Triple Triad Try Hard, and Christopher Highness.
I'd like to thank Gunblading Sid, Jordan McNeil, Sean, still waiting for a dateable Krogan, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PS5, Grayson, Lyriel of the Claire, Ari Corbavara, Andrew Leinart, Robert J. Defendi, CharityWater.org, Sexy Grandma's Boy Toy is Grey Code, Isaac Wright, Justin Rash, Matthew Newland, Alexander Jokic, Listen Up Scoot Stains, Chris Wilder, Joshua Bennett, Hexagon, Armin Hammer, Hudson Roth, Andy Smith, Vanessa's mother's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate, Amanda Douglas, Christian Go, Sergeant Spaghetti, Chris Ryan, Kevin Walter, Adam Zimmerman, Robot in Greece, everyone's favorite Grease robot, and Stephen Paget.
I would like to thank Paul Bursch, Alex Dillard, Cake Ninja, Joseph, Wash in the Wind, Andy M., Knopford, George Brady, Michael Crawford, Jameson, OMG, What Is This Game? Mary Queen of Scoffs, D. Jethro, Ron, Sean Gonzalez, Ross Disney, You Are the Best Looking Guy Here, Dr. Fine Say Everyone's Name, Jim's Disturbingly Attractive Asari Girlfriend, Grunt is the True Baby Fresh Eyes, Andy Best, Citrus C, Gage La Charité, Chris Penyak, PJ Ends, Huxley Iguana, Hat Ben, the Ben with the Hat, Sean Walsh, Lepity Moore versus Kinky Sam Elliott, Florian Jonas Kramer, The RPG Luminary, Ryan Miller, and Go Cry Wolf.
Nick, Eric Garby, Nom Nommy Tool. Vanessa's mom, contrary to rumors, is not the Shadow Broker. Wink. Jake Dickerson, David Green, more like Final Fantasy Great. I have no memory of this game. Nathan Poirot, Randy P., Megan Sullivan, Jonathan Ellsworth, Samu Mitchell, play Final Fantasy VIII. It is your
I don't wanna.
Aaron Bachman, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021, Robert M. Pullum, Miguel Torres, I challenge the other Tracy to a duel to the pain, Race Jenkins, Cameron Shoei, Cyril the Wolf, Cat Wars, episode per A Mew Hope, Robert T., Tom, Ross Hartley, Tyler Petty, Justin Ham, Bree Girth, Devin Sloan. Oops, I forgot to update my name for Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is great, and I love it more than I love doing square roots. Brian Pitt, Ward Childress, the ghosts of Johnny's murdered Fable husbands, is assuming direct control of Vanessa's real mom. My mom for real. I love you, Mom.
Oh, we don't want
It's
those husbands
Steele.
controlling your mom.
Don't we?
Oh.
Take us out of here.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to send us an email to probably be read on the air. You can reach us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group, for smart, cool, very attractive people, or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you review and give us a good rating, I will tell you about the Casper story, but only offline. And thanks to Ro Penganti and Lord Biff for letting us use their cover of Mass Effect 2's Suicide Mission. You can follow them on YouTube, links in the show notes.
It's awesome. I love the theme for this season. I play it all the time.
All right, for Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zandt.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Commander Shepard.
It's really important to me, Vanessa, that you know you are not Commander Shepard.
Vanessa.
Bye.
And this is my favorite podcast on the Citadel.
like to drive in an RPG.
Shut up.
What about what about flying machines?
No.
Does that count?
Yes.
Remember that great wonky, stupid machine from the first game that you had to drive around?
Yeah,
The Mako.
That's good stuff.
Boy, do I.
You don't think like flying the High Wind in Final Fantasy VII is fun?
Well, I guess now that you put it that way, that is pretty fun.
Yeah.
There's a difference between driving for transportation purposes and driving segments.
Okay, I see. I see. Whether the difference is like mode of transportation or mode of transportation is a gimmick.
Right. Like in
Yeah.
that Batman game, I don't mind driving around in the Batmobile. I do mind when the Riddler like sets up a test and he's like, "Riddle me this. What kind of car can pass my obstacle course?"
Yeah. The game should have said, I'm the Riddler, and I've spent 200 years building these underground racetracks because there's like 12 of them, and they're massive, and they have like lava and shit.
I, the
worst part of those
Riddler,
games.
the most cerebral of your villains, have come up with a riddle even you won't be able to solve. Can you
Is this
accelerate
Vanessa's
up
longest
this
last
wall?
time ever?
Last time on Square Roots, let me tell you my problems with the concept of the Riddler building a racetrack.
Yeah.